Thank you for purchasing our digital content creator template. And if you haven't yet, I'm going to show you how it works. When you download the template, you will see two zip files. The digital content template zip file is a folder that holds the Premiere Pro project. And the digital content export presets zip file holds all of the export presets. I'm going to unzip both zip files and let's focus on the digital content template folder. When you open the folder, you will see 5 folders. A project folder that holds our Premiere Pro project, a footage folder where all of your footage will be imported from, a graphics folder where you put all of your title cards, lower thirds, transitions, logo, images, and other graphic assets in, an audio folder where you place your VO, music, and sound effects in, and an exports folder where you'll put all of your final exports in. Let's go back to our project folder and click on the Premiere Pro project. I'm currently editing in Premiere Pro 2024, but I made this template in Premiere Pro 2022 so that users who are working in Premiere Pro 2022 and Premiere Pro 2023 can still use this template. I'm going to open this in Premiere Pro 2024, and I get this pop-up telling us that we need to convert this project to the 2024 version since this was created in the 2022 version. Choose where you want this to be saved, and I'm going to save this to our project folder. And I'm going to add 2024 to the end of this, and I'm going to press OK. Our project will appear, and if your layout looks different than mine, it is going off of your workspace layout. I'm currently in the editing workspace. To reset your layout, go to Windows, Reset Saved Layout. If you go to the project panel, we have 6 bins. The first bin in our project is labeled Cuts, and this is where the sequences you will be working on should live. We don't have any sequences in here yet because we haven't started editing. When you are editing, you would put your most recent cut in this bin and place the previous edits in the previous edits bin to keep your project organized. The footage bin is where our footage will live. Graphics is where your title cards, lower thirds, transitions, and other template files, logos, and graphic images should live. Audio is where your music, sound effects, and voiceovers should live. The templates folder is where our pre-built sequences live. We have pre-built sequences here for Rumble, Twitch, Vimeo, and YouTube. And these are built on the recommended upload settings for YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and Vimeo. When we open the bin for Rumble, you will see additional bins for each of the frame rates Rumble recommends. So if you shot in 25 frames per second, you would use sequences in the 25 frames per second bin. So if you shot in 29.97 frames per second, you would use the sequences in the 29.97 frames per second bin. And if you shot in 60 frames per second, you would use the sequences in the 60 frames per second bin. And when working with sequences, not only is the frame rate important, but the dimension sizes as well. Rumble currently allows up to 1920 by 1080 dimensions, and the lowest dimensions is 1280 by 720. And that is why we only have sequences for these dimension sizes. Before you start editing and placing clips in the timeline, I highly recommend making a duplicate of the sequence you want to work in, so that if you need a new sequence from scratch, you will always have the previous pre-built sequences here. What you want to do is make a duplicate of the sequence by either right-clicking on it and go to duplicate, or use the keyboard shortcut Shift-Command// on a Mac, or Control-Shift// on a Windows computer, and then drag and drop the duplicated sequence to your cuts folder, and then rename it. When you drag in a file, you might get this pop-up saying that the cut does not match the sequence settings. When working in this template, you always want to press Keep Existing Settings, as this sequence is built for the final output. If we decide to change the sequence settings, it will go to the sequence settings based on the clips you have imported. If you're working in a 1280 by 720 sequence and your footage is 1920 by 1080, you can either select the clip in the timeline and press Set to Frame Size, or go to the Premiere Pro tab, go to Settings, Media, and go to Default Media Scaling and change it from none to set to frame size. This will automatically fit the clips you are working with to the dimension sizes of your clips without pixelating the clips. In most situations, you would be editing in the 1920 by 1080 sequence. Twitch is very similar to Rumble, as Twitch currently allows up to 1920 by 1080 dimensions, and the lowest dimensions is 1280 by 720. And that is why we only have sequences for these dimension sizes. Twitch also accepts 25 frames per second, 29.97 frames per second, and 60 frames per second. Vimeo accepts the frame rates of 23.98 frames per second, 25 frames per second, and 29.97 frames per second. Vimeo currently allows up to 4K footage, 1920 by 1080, and 1280 by 720. YouTube accepts the frame rates of 23.98 frames per second, 25 frames per second, 29.97 frames per second, and YouTube currently allows up to 4K footage, 1920 by 1080, and 1280 by 720. To export, make sure you set your in and out points in the timeline. Then go to File, Export, Media, or press the keyboard shortcut Command M on a Mac or Control M on a Windows computer. The export settings will appear, and we are going to go to the Preset tab and click on the icon that has 3 dots and go to Import Presets. Browse to the Digital Content Export Presets folder and select the first preset, and then hold Shift to select the last preset to select them all at once, and then press Open. And you want to go to the Format tab and change the format to H.264, which is the codec for an MP4. Then in the Preset tab, all of the presets we imported should be here. If you don't see them, go down to More Presets, and the Preset Manager window will appear. Then go to the Custom Presets tab, and in the search bar, type in the desired output. So if we want to export a 1920 by 1080 video for YouTube, we would type in YouTube and then select YouTube 1080p and press OK. Choose your location where you want this file to be exported to. I'm going to send this to my Downloads folder. Press Export, then the Export tab will appear, and when your media has exported, it will appear in your desired location. Get 50% off the Premiere Pro Digital Content Creator Template now for a limited time. Use promo code SSC50. The link to our website is in the description below.